So the movie begins at an Italian resort where two families keep eyeing each other, with Ben and Louise here being the more normal couple who are kind of falling apart, while Patty and Kira are the wild bunch who will probably tear you apart. Both of them have kids, causing them to link up when the main couple's daughter Agnes loses her stuffed bunny, and so Ben goes out to look for it so that he can be a good dad. Whereas in the original, that man kind of had the bunny, so he pretty much took a time out from his family by looking for it. Personally, in this one, I think Patty was the one scoping out the bunny since he saw how important it was to them and how he can toy with them by playing with it. But it also shows how Ben and Louise's family, they're just doing bad, you know? Their daughter is getting so little attention that she's still attached to a stuffed animal at her age. Minutes after meeting these people, they continue to show how great they are by just letting their daughter get on a Vespa with a stranger.
I'll be really, really safe.
But legally...
I won't call the fun police if you don't.
Nah, you should be calling the police. They end up bonding because he didn't kidnap her for now, and go out to eat where they get to know each other a little bit better. Patty mentions that he's a doctor who's quit his practice and they're just living out in the old country, while Ben vents about moving his entire family to London only to get hit with a severance. And now their lives are stiller than ever. Even Louise, who used to have a job in PR, pretty much had to give it up because of the move, because she was always putting him before her, and that kind of becomes a pattern in the movie, you know? They'll always ignore her or ask her a question as an afterthought. Even when she brings up that she's a vegetarian, Patty not only questions it, but when he apologizes later for forgetting, it's not even to her, it's to Ben.
You guys have gone to so much trouble.
Mate, I feel like such an idiot. I'm so sorry.
It was okay, yeah.
Yeah, it was okay.
They spend the rest of the day together and try to avoid the Dutch couple, who they all find really annoying, and it's Patty who gets them to leave them alone by asking a question about toilet paper, which is whether you scrunch or fold. There is only right answer, and I'm not opening it up for debate. But what is funny is that the original story is based on the director's own vacation, where he met with a Dutch couple who invited them over.
Listen, you have to come and visit.
We did not say yes, but I just started imagining what would have happened, and I thought it could be a pretty scary film.
Ben and Louise return to the rainy London home where we see how rocky their relationship is, to the point that the moment they get a postcard from Patty to go visit, they jump at it immediately. They drive out to the West Country where they go so far in they think they're lost, and after a couple of hours even lose their cell signal. Eventually they find the war memorial sign and go left like they were told, but at no point do they see the signs that things ain't right. Like, they get there, and the place looks like a compound. This dude even locks up the windows every night. They're so deep in the middle of nowhere. Man, I was questioning how they're even gonna charge that Tesla.
Do you guys even have any neighbors?
They start the night by drinking his kombucha cider and getting super tipsy as Patty slices up his prize goose and eggs on Louise to eat it. And that's something that's not just a power play, but in the original, they really lean in on the idea of getting the husband to encourage her to go against her beliefs.
I'll tell you what, let's go.
To me, there's also a big difference between the wife taking the fork and her getting salt paid. Either way, they're spitting it out. Ben and Louise also find dirty sheets in their room, but he tosses it up to their normal just not being their normal.
Americans generally, I think, are cleaner than Brits.
Oh, really?
And I don't know, or maybe, like our homes or our hospitals or whatever. It's just, I don't know.
Hospitals. Our morgues.
Yeah, I'm gonna let y'all debate that in the comments. All I know is that when someone says,
Wow, all very comfortable.
That's Airbnb talk for, Agnes is also so attached that she's always sleeping with her parents to the point that they have a breathing app for her, also with a bunny. But the same way that each partner is answering for each other, they also kind of show you how parents do that to their kids.
Do you like it? Yes, she likes it. We finder ud af det, skat.
As for Ant, it was his kid's first time acting, which is kind of killer because he ain't got no lines. They explain that he has congenital aglossia, which is when someone is born without a tongue, but these two don't have internet out there, so it's not like they're going to search it up. So on the first night, they all awkwardly sit in the living room while he moans for a straight minute, just so they can come back for the third act. That said, it does go with the title of the movie, with a child being silenced, because you have that idea that even the adults who have the ability to talk would rather bite their tongue instead of speaking out. And that goes really well with a quote Mackenzie said in the press run that I thought was really solid about what do you do when things are awkward, instead of saying, just leave. That a moment of discomfort is worth the investment in your pleasure.
If you can get out of a situation you hate, or cancel plans, or leave a restaurant you don't like being in, just do that thing that is like a minute to 5 minutes of excruciating discomfort, but then you're free.
The next day they go hiking as the movie brings up the topic of guns, just so that the movie can mention the topic of guns, and Patty goes on about predator control being essential to a balanced ecosystem, which obviously is ironic. I'm pretty sure this is also the most swole McAvoy has ever been for a movie so that he can play a beast, and the dude looks crazy. Nature calls Louise as Agnes cries for her when Ant won't push her on the swing, a switch from it being a slide in the original. But either way, it's just to showcase that Patty is willing to yell at Ant in front of everybody and shows how aggressive he is in front of them. That's where you see the pattern of Louise and her neck, because every time things get awkward, she starts rubbing it, be it at dinner or them getting lost. Hell, she'll switch sides on it, and even here when Patty yells, it makes her feel uncomfortable and she reaches for it, and yet she still lets him lay hands on her for a massage. And what'd Ben do? Nothing. And then right after that, they jump off a cliff.
You shouldn't be shy, Louise. Got a great body.
Oh, thank you.
As soon as they get back, Ben keeps ignoring Louise when she says that she wants to leave, or they're still using the neck as an excuse. But even with the hair dryers blowing up faster than pagers, Ben would still rather be nice in order to keep up appearances.
You guys have been
breath of fresh air.
They end up going to a private dinner where Patty keeps poking at her being a pescatarian and then recites a whole poem about not being like your parents. It turns out that Kira never knew hers, and clearly Patty's did him so wrong that that's why he is who he is, even carrying the idea that parents just fill you with their bad. And maybe, spoilers, that's why he doesn't have his own kids, but takes others in order to justify his wrongs. He just sees it as practice.
17 years. Wow.
You get less for murder.
This man then talks about role-playing in order to have a healthy relationship, and he orders dessert right then and there. Like, this dude got creme brulee. After seeing them swing for the fences, Luis questions how old Kira would have been when they first met, but Ben's too busy getting stuck with the bill that he just keeps ignoring the signs. Meanwhile, while they're all at dinner, the kids stayed back with a babysitter who Patty hired from the asylum since it makes them cheap, and he also laughs at the fact that they get deported whenever, so be it the countryside or east side New York, it's all the same difference. That said, Aunt took advantage of them playing hide and seek and shows Agnes the watch collection that Patty keeps, hinting that one of them comes from his real dad. But she doesn't get any of it.
What's the matter? Cat caught your tongue.
The adults then return with these two calling it a night while these two decide to fight, because it turns out that they've been struggling for 6 months because he found more than an eggplant emoji on her phone, and they've been rocking ever since she got dinged with a dong. After months of therapy, she's also opened up about giving up everything to follow his job even though it didn't work out, and that he's bitter at them just because he hates the world.
I don't know if you're with me because you love me or because you just can't stand to fail.
Yeah, that's a crazy line. That's a good addition to a remake. Another thing that they keep is how Patty keeps creeping through the doorway, but one thing the original had that was worse was when he walks in to brush his teeth while she was showering, and I guess they did have it for this new one in the trailers, but then they deleted it. Luis wakes up in the middle of the night to check on Agnes and sees that she's gone, only to find her sleeping in their bed where they snooze in Speedos, so immediately they decide to leave at dawn. Just like in the original, they forget that damn stuffed animal, so they have to return, but while the first one had it in the car, here they go back for it since Agnes thinks they're gonna torture Hoppy. So they just go back to the torturers. Also, I'm tired of kids kicking seats in movies that almost cause accidents.
Agnes! Hey, enough!
Hey! Careful! What are you doing? Are you insane?
They then all awkwardly meet up in the kitchen where they all start coming up with excuses, and since McAvoy is the better actor, they plot this sob story of having lost a daughter, which is why they took Agnes at night, since they were fighting, and that's why this story's so messed up, Like, this is a horror film where they're not trapped in a haunted house. No one's invading their home. They can leave at any point, and they stay just to be nice.
You try to leave without saying goodbye?
They stay and look at the chickens while Anne tries to rewrite the ending, but because it's in a different language, Agnes stays confused. Instead, she tells her mom about it, and she hits her with another nicety.
Sometimes it's okay to think things, but you can't actually say them.
Mom.
During this, the boys go hunting so that they can vent about being men, and Patty legit breaks down what he's been doing and how he loves to lure his prey.
It's not even about the kill for me. It's always been about the hunt. Luring the fish onto the hook. That's the game. That's what I live for.
See, he's been toying with them the whole movie, and it's straight to their face that, you don't even need to rewatch it. Since the moment they met, he warned them.
You're terrible. Terrible.
You do not know the half of it.
And he straight up just told them his master plan.
I've always wanted a family like yours.
No, she'll be fine.
They return back, and he keeps trolling them because he just knows he can. And that's something that in the original was more subtle because they would lie a lot more just to fit in or virtue signal so that they could show how good they are.
Oh no, I understand everything he says.
Okay.
The original also takes it up on every level because they don't even subtitle the Dutch throughout, so it makes you feel like the strangers in their scenario. They even use the score in a very clever way because they'll play it as a warning, so you can feel that something's wrong in the air just like the characters do, but then you notice that they don't act on it. It's less about what the bad guys are doing, but how the main couple reacts to it.
Please, could you stop telling my daughter what to do?
We then get another dinner scene where Patty keeps pouring wine like he's been doing all movie, and they start arguing about not raising each other's kids. That's what leads Aunt and Agnes to do their little TikTok dance that Aunt keeps messing up on, turning James into an angry Patty. Again, instead of leaving, they just chill since they're so buzzed. Even Patty goes to take a nap.
Want to go?
Okay, Louise, we'll go. Just let me get some coffee in me first, all right?
I feel you. Been there. That's when Aunt goes full stealth mode and sneaks in to steal Patty's keys in order to show Agnes the secret dungeon where he keeps all the evidence. And while I hated this part from the trailer because it was edited so goofy and obviously they kept overplaying it, Aunt's sneaky with it. He uses that football that they gifted him to go over to the coop and then goes in to show the scrapbook of all the different families, how it was his dad's watch, and how they cut out his tongue because he wouldn't keep it in. And they were even smart enough to actually take pics for evidence. Aunt then breaks back into Patty's room again, but this time he's up, leading to this really creepy scene where he forces Aunt to give him a hug and to show him love, and then makes him jump on for a piggyback ride just for appearances. Again, obviously this is all based off of his father, and you get a little hint of that with the poem at dinner, but there's a couple of clues throughout with how he gets his parenting. For starters, there was that Chuck Norris movie that played on the TV since they're supposed to have VHS tapes and no internet, but that wasn't what they originally wanted. It turns out that what they really planned for was a Tom and Jerry clip of Spike and Tyke, since Patty knew nothing about being a father and was literally copying a cartoon dog dad.
That's my boy.
That's my boy. That's my boy.
The parents keep ignoring Agnes, so this girl decides to cut her thigh in order to get their attention, and she really went from being a girl with a bunny rabbit to someone who composes himself so quickly and starts faking a period. That leads to the family getting together in the bathroom, where Louise immediately grabs a box cutter and starts planning their escape.
Everything okay in there?
Yeah, we're all good.
As soon as they come out, they see Patty on the phone already prepping for the final act and calling his boy to show up. And it's no accident when they find their Tesla outside with a flat tire. Because you see, a blown up engine, that's one thing. This is James being a crab patty. He then offers to fix it and shows Ben his tool room and then makes him climb up the roof since Agnes lost Hoppy again. And clearly it's Patty who threw it up there.
Oh, I'm so sorry, Agnes. I think an animal must have got to him.
Right before they're about to exit, Patty throws Ant into the lake where he keeps all the bodies and locks the electric gate, stopping them from leaving.
Why are you doing this? Because you let us.
Now they're all captured like prey, and he breaks down their whole game plan. He makes them transfer $250K, which explains how they've been living off grid. Dude already has a buyer for the Tesla. He even makes them email their landlord in London, even though he knows the neighbors won't miss them. But that said, this is where both movies go completely different routes. Here, Patty gets a syringe ready with ketamine, which gets dropped when Louise slashes him with a box cutter and takes a shotgun. And that's when Agnes just hides the pointiest object under her. They get ready to escape, but almost fall for another of Kira's sob stories when she calls herself a victim. And my take is that, yeah, she probably is, but that doesn't forgive her from also becoming a predator. I think she is part of the cycle where because she can't have kids, she's okay taking them. Even with her sculptures that they showed earlier that I think she titled Mother's Love, it's kind of her expressing how she doesn't have a voice or a choice, that she's pretty much in the same position as Louise, taken away by her husband and just following along. But in the end, realizing that it is up to them to stand up and make a decision. Or instead, make out with your captor.
Don't move until you hear my voice again, okay?
The chef then pulls up with a shotgun and helps Patty and Kira since he's also in on it. But as a cook, yeah, he's mad the dude keeps playing with his food. Ben and Louise lock themselves up inside the house with the kids where they try to MacGyver some Molotovs, but kind of mess it up when they halt and almost catch fire. But then they go full Home Alone on them. They're putting up dressers as he's dropping his drawers. They're duping them with the sleep app from earlier and even tricking them with mirror shots. All while Ben's hiding in the closet. He then has a one-on-one with the chef until Louise herself comes in to hammer him to death and saves the day. All while leaving Ben very happy that she did in fact now smash a dude. They make it to the roof to escape and kill Kira by dropping her like she's hot, but she also takes the ladder with her. So Ben finally becomes a stand-up guy and jumps down breaking his leg in order to save his family. Now, like I said, the original is way darker because they all die. The father in that one is even dumber because he leaves his family on the side of the road when they actually make it out, only for them to all get caught. He's then in the passenger seat of the car when they cut out his daughter's tongue right behind him. They then keep her as their new child after drowning the last kid, and then end the movie with the main couple getting stoned to death, but finally being closer than they've ever been. Patty takes Agnes hostage in this one, talking about how now that Kira's gone, she's going to be the one to take care of him, proving that cycle isn't just swapping out kids, but partners.
I'm a victim here too. Please, I was his first.
But somehow, even though this girl kept losing Hoppy or stuffed animal, she kept that syringe intact while running, hanging from the roof, and is able to inject Patty to free herself. Anthony comes in and breaks him to death, swapping out the stoning in the original to it actually happening to the villain, as the family leaves hoping to start a new beginning. Agnes is able to give away her bunny now that she's past that stage. Ant finally is able to be a kid again, and they all learn the most valuable lesson from the movie.
Never hang out with vacation friends after the vacation.